Startup Space, Satellite Technology of the Year, and Satellite Executive of the Year Awards presentation. Please welcome your Satellite 2022 Chairman, Jeffrey Hill.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. We're now about to begin our Luncheon program, so please take your seats and get comfortable, as we have a lot going on during the next 45 minutes. In just a moment, we'll announce the winners of yesterday's Startup Space competition, as well as the winners of Via Satellite Magazine's Executive of the Year and Technology of the Year awards. But first, at the top of the program, we welcome our guest keynote and headline speaker for Satellite 2022's Government and Military Forum Conference Program. The Government Military Forum is produced in partnership with our good friends at the Satellite Industry Association, SIA. The organization has been our longtime partner on the government and military program. I would like to now introduce SIA President Tom Strout, who is the association's lead advocate for regulatory and policy issues of critical importance to SIA's membership, including spectrum and licensing issues, defense and public safety matters, and export control and international trade issues. The satellite team and I are very grateful to Tom and his team at SIA for their partnership in their help in growing our government and military program. So please welcome SIA President Tom Strout. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm delighted to be here. We appreciate our partnership with Access Intelligence. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker. Umair Javed serves as Chairwoman Rosenworcel's Chief Counsel. From October 2017 through January 2021, he served as then Commissioner Rosenworcel's legal advisor for wireless and international issues. Umair joined the FCC from Wiley Ryan LLP, where he was an attorney in the firm's telecom, media, and technology practice group. Umair has also served on U.S. delegations to treaty writing conferences and meetings of the International Telecommunication Union and as Commissioner of the Consumer Protection Commission of Fairfax County. He graduated from the University of Virginia and received his JD from the University of Virginia Law School. In his capacity as Chief Counsel, Umair oversees all spectrum and competition policy at the FCC and leads the newly formed National Security Policy Council. For those of you who have had the good fortune of working with Umair, you know that he loves his job. He has stated that, among other things, he likes it requires thinking outside the box, sometimes when the box hasn't even been invented yet. As those of you in this room know, ours is an industry where the box often hasn't been invented, so we are quite fortunate to have someone like Umair to help solve the regulatory issues we create. In addition to being a public servant at the federal level, Umair is also engaged at the local level as a volunteer fireman, a passion that goes back to his days at UVA. And while I hope that no one in this room ever needs his services as a volunteer fireman, we are indeed fortunate to have him in his capacity as Chief Counsel to Chairwoman Rosenworcel. Please welcome Umair Javed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the warm welcome and for allowing me to stand in FCC Chairwoman Rosenworcel's shoes today. They're not easy to fill, but I'm up for the challenge. Thank you also to Tom for the kind introduction, and of course, for your leadership of the Satellite Industry Association. You know, today actually marks a notable day in any space lover's calendar. It was about this time, 57 years ago, that NASA launched the first crewed mission in Project Gemini, which also was the first time that two American astronauts flew together in space. It was a big milestone for a young space program, and it's one worth remembering today. But I know not all of you here are necessarily space lovers. That might not be the thing that gets you excited. Some of you might be here because you're communications wonks. Well, this mission had something for you too. You see, this was also the first time that NASA tested a new system to improve communications with the ground during the blackout period. And it was a big success. It made future flights safer. But again, I know some of you are here not because you're space lovers or communications wonks. And it's okay to be honest. Some of you are just here for lunch. Well, don't worry, I've got something for you too. This mission actually is best remembered for a contraband corned beef sandwich that astronaut John Young smuggled on board in the pocket of his spacesuit. It was the first, and as far as we know, the last, corned beef sandwich to orbit the Earth. So there you have it. Space, communications, and lunch. Hopefully I've covered everyone here. But now I want you to put aside whatever brought you here today and just imagine yourself in that seat for a second. 20 minutes before you start a 5-hour, 80,000-mile journey into the void of space, propelled by human ingenuity and about 430,000 pounds of thrust. You're thinking about a corned beef sandwich. Talk about ice in your veins. I think that's the sort of thing that 57 years on is worth remembering with a little bit of admiration and a little bit of awe. In fact, I think it's that spirit that might help explain how, in these uncommon and uncertain times, the satellite industry is thriving while others are contracting. Looking at the World Economic Prospects Report by the World Bank, the world economy shrank by 4.3% in 2020, or year one of the pandemic. But the overall space economy grew by 4.4% in that same time, with more nations and more private companies participating than ever before. And investors now are forecasting that space will be the next trillion-dollar industry by 2030. And it's not just that you're growing, you're also setting new records. Private investment in space companies is at an all-time high, topping $10 billion. In 2020, you launched 1,198 satellites, more than tripling the number of satellites launched in 2019. And if that's not impressive enough, last year you broke that record and launched 1,755 satellites. And with nearly 500 satellites already launched this year, all signs point to another record in 2022. That's great. The space industry also is reaching new milestones. Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, SpaceX all flew their first tourist-focused missions last year. NASA landed its rover on Mars with the help of Lockheed Martin, United Launch Alliance, and others. The James Webb Space Telescope, the world's most powerful, blasted off into orbit just days shy of the new year. And on top of that, the industry is playing a bigger role addressing some of the world's biggest problems. In the United States, satellite service was critical after disasters like Hurricane Ida and in fighting wildfires out west. And right now, commercial satellites are providing crucial support to the Ukrainian government and humanitarian organizations half a world away. Any way you cut it, the satellite industry has been on a monumental run. And with the pace of innovation and investment in the United States at an all-time high, I think now is the time that we start to think about how we can build off of this success and prepare for what comes next. That means taking steps now to ensure American leadership and strength, laying the groundwork for competition that will benefit consumers and innovation, and safeguarding the long-term sustainability of our outer space activities. Now, the Federal Communications Commission has always had a vested interest in a healthy satellite sector. But thanks to the evolution of your sector, our goals are more aligned now more than ever. And that's because this next generation space age that's unfolding is being fueled primarily by a drive to expand satellite broadband internet access. Just look at the numbers. 98% of all satellite launches in 2021 were deployed into low Earth orbit to provide internet connectivity back here on Earth. This is important for at least two reasons. For one thing, these satellites can play a really big role in advancing the FCC's goals and Chairwoman Rosenworcel's goals to connect everyone everywhere. And for another, the success of these low Earth orbit communication satellites, well, they might just be a litmus test for the broader commercialization of space. Of course, LEO doesn't have a monopoly on satellite innovation, we know that. GEO and MEO operators are in the midst of their own generational upgrades that will transform broadband availability around the world. And smallsat and CubeSat operators are revolutionizing everything from scientific research to climate monitoring and Earth imaging. It's clear that you're doing a lot. So let me tell you 5 things that the Federal Communications Commission, under Chairwoman Rosenworcel's leadership, is doing to help. First, and I hope this is welcome news, but the FCC is speeding up its regulatory review processes to keep pace with the reality of today's satellite marketplace. Despite all this revolutionary activity in our atmosphere, the resources available at the FCC to shape these efforts are a little bit dated. They made sense for a time when going to space was astronomically expensive and limited to the prowess of our political superpowers. No one imagined commercial tourism taking hold. No one believed crowdfunding satellites were possible. And no one could have conceived of the sheer popularity of space entrepreneurship. The world has changed. We are facing disruptive changes of scale in terms of the number of applications for new satellites and Earth stations that are being filed with the FCC. Many of these applications are raising novel legal, technical, and policy issues that we haven't considered before. And on top of that, satellite companies are building their satellites faster, they're launching them faster, and they're replacing them faster. But as the demands on the FCC's satellite division have increased over the last few years, its size has steadily decreased. That means we're doing a lot more with less. So now I have to ask you to forgive me because I have to say it. Houston, we have a problem. Across the board, Chairwoman Rosenworcel believes that we need to do better to prepare for the proliferation of satellites in our higher altitudes. And that starts with having the right resources in place at the FCC. Here's the good news. Chairwoman Rosenworcel has made fixing this problem a priority. For starters, she's increasing the size of the FCC satellite division by 38%. That means more engineers and more agency resources to replenish technical and policy resources. She's also sped up the FCC's work. In the last 30 days alone, the FCC has placed more than 100 backlogged Earth station applications on public notice. We've granted 8 of them that have completed coordination. And right now, the satellite division is clearing through the remaining Ka, Ku band satellite applications that are still with the agency. Faster processes mean we will let the most creative people in this country, and those are the engineers at your companies, go out and try new things. Second, we're opening new opportunities for satellite broadband networks. In November, the FCC cleared the way for 2 new low Earth orbit satellite constellations that will bring broadband and Internet of Things services to consumers, to businesses, and to government customers in the United States and globally. This past August, Chairwoman Rosenworcel launched a new processing round for NGSO satellites that want to use the V-band. And in response, we got more than 38,000 we got applications seeking approval for more than 38,000 satellites that will offer global broadband. Third, we're modernizing US spectrum policy to meet the needs of the next generation space age. In April, the FCC identified spectrum for the first time to support a more competitive market for commercial launch services and launch sites, and we think this will help the industry overall. We've cleared the way for more satellite operators to use spectrum in the 50.4 to the 51.4 gigahertz band. And we're working with satellite companies on the 70, 80, and 90 gigahertz bands as well. Most importantly, last month, Chairwoman Rosenworcel and Assistant Secretary Alan Davidson at the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, they announced a new initiative called the Spectrum Coordination Initiative. As part of this effort, both the FCC and NTIA will work together to strengthen the processes for information sharing and better collaboration on spectrum issues. That means we're revitalizing the interagency process so that it once again is able to produce results for you, for consumers, and for the economy. Fourth, we're keeping competition and innovation front of mind. That's because we need more than just 1 or 2 companies to be successful in low Earth orbit. So in December, Chairman Rosenworcel started a proceeding to take a hard look at our satellite rules. We wanted to make sure that they created a level playing field for new competitors. And so we started by reviewing our processing round rules for NGSO satellites. Right now, they give a first mover advantage in the form of a spectrum priority. And that can be a good thing. It can be a good thing if it provides early entrants the certainty they need to invest in costly satellites. But it's not a good thing if it shuts the door to competitors from even entering the space. So the FCC is exploring whether we should sunset this first mover advantage after some time so that our rules reward investment, but they also create that opportunity for new entrants to reach that level playing field. And as part of that effort, we're looking at new rules to improve spectrum sharing and coordination between satellite operators. Now, fifth and finally, and perhaps most importantly, the FCC is supporting your friend, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, in her campaign to become the next Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. Earlier this month, Chairwoman Rosenworcel traveled to Barcelona for the Mobile World Congress, and then to Geneva for the World Telecommunications Standardization Assembly with Doreen. She believes that Doreen would provide exactly the kind of leadership we need at the ITU to leverage new and emerging technologies to further economic growth, sustainable development, and human progress. But you already know that about Doreen. You know her track record, you know her values, and you know her talents. And most importantly, you know her commitment. Doreen has put 28 years of her professional life into the ITU, and she rose to become the head of the ITU's Telecommunication Development Bureau, the first woman who was elected to any ITU leadership position in over 155 years. I know SIA has thrown its support behind Doreen's candidacy, and I thank you for that, and we look forward to working with all of you on this effort. So I know I covered a lot of ground today, but that's what happens when you're talking about such a dynamic industry. Working together, we can fulfill the promise of the new space age and ensure that the United States remains the international leader in satellite technology and in space. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Umair, for joining us here at Satellite, and once again to Tom and SIA for partnering with us on our very successful Government Military Forum. There's also one more person I want to thank personally while I have the opportunity, and that's our Satellite 2022 Conference Manager, Lauren Foer. A lot of you have been coming up to me and congratulating me on the conference program and saying how great it's been, and I'm glad and I very much appreciate that, and our entire team very much appreciates it. But a majority of that praise should go to Lauren. She is the glue that holds everything together. She is the reason the speakers are so prepared. She is the reason I know exactly where to stand when I walk out here. She's the reason Rafferty knows where she's standing. She's the reason the lights look great, the stage looks great. Her and our operations team work together to put together a fantastic show. So I just want to take a moment. Thank you so much, Lauren, for all of your hard work. You are amazing at what you do. So we now move on to the awards portion of the program, and the very first award we have to announce is the winner of our 6th annual Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Contest. Since we established Startup Space in 2017, more than 80 space companies have taken the exhibit hall stage in a battle of lightning-fast business pitches. Both of this year's Startup Space winner will be revealed by our partner in producing this year's competition, Rafferty Jackson of Jack Industries. Rafferty did a fantastic job organizing the event this year, and that clearly shows the quality of the pitches we had yesterday in the exhibit hall. So Rafferty, I'll turn things over to you to share some information about Startup Space and to reveal our winner.
So the first person I need to thank is Caleb Williams. He's an incoming vice president for NextFed. He was my partner in making this event happen. He and I this year spent half an hour with each company if they chose to, and they had an opportunity to do their pitch, do their slides, and it was a real chance to give them a leg up so that they could take the stage in a really dramatic way. What Caleb and I realized is that Startup Space has become an important entry point to our industry. Leo Labs, Orbit Fab, Astroscale, those are all Startup Space competitors. When we looked at that heritage, we realized that this is the competition that companies need to come to. So Caleb and I really wanted to make sure everybody had the best chance to be successful. I want to thank our judges, but more importantly, I want to tell you about our grand prize this year. The winner of the competition has a half an hour within 30 days of today to meet with the following funds. This is a $1 million pitch competition now. Space Fund, Mac Ventures Capital, Starbridge Venture Capital, Airstream Ventures, Moonshot, Seraphim Capital, DCVC, and a firm that didn't even come to the competition this year wanted to participate, Bessemer Ventures. So the announcement today of the winner, they're going to have a phone call with all of those funds so we can continue to fund these great ideas and continue to build this ecosystem. The competitors this year were Scout, AV Space Tech, Aquarian Space, Tensor Tech, Orbit's Edge, Reorbit, Vioma, GeoJump, and Rogue Space Systems. I am delighted to announce the winner, Dr. Luisa Buenhas from Vioma Space.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to pitch at this really great conference, and thank you very much to Rafferty and Jeffrey for their support throughout. I think this award is also a recognition of the importance of space sustainability and the need to keep our orbital environment safe and clean. After all, this is the only way that we can support a healthy growth of the space economy in the coming years, and it's the only reason why we can keep having these wonderful conferences year after year. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again to Luisa and all the competitors. The scores were incredibly close. The pitches get better every year, just a few points that separates each of the competitors. So everybody did a great job. And once again, thank you to Rafferty and Caleb for your hard work and doing a great job. And thank you to all the judges who participated. I now introduce my colleague of many years, Mark Holmes, Editor-in-Chief of Via Satellite, who will present the winners of Via Satellite Magazine's prestigious Satellite Executive of the Year and Satellite Technology of the Year Awards for 2021. Please welcome Mark Holmes.
Hello again. How you doing? You good? Excellent. Welcome to our eagerly anticipated awards lunch, where we recognize and celebrate the new and the great of the satellite industry. The lunch is always one of the highlights of satellite, as we announce the winners of our Satellite Executive of the Year, or as we call it, SIOTI, and our Satellite Technology of the Year, imaginatively called STOTI, and our Startup Space Awards. It actually feels great to be here in person. I mean, I think everybody has said that, so I may as well just say it as well. And to hand out and give these awards and recognize some of the major achievements in our industry. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that I've missed being with this community in person, talking with you and sharing stories. I actually feel honored today as the editor of Via Satellite to actually be able to do this today. The Satellite Show is a welcome return for an industry that makes a difference to people's lives all over the world. Recent events, whether the COVID-19 pandemic or geopolitical events and the sad events going on in Ukraine as we speak, have only highlighted the importance of connectivity in these difficult times. Our industry enables better education, better healthcare, better ability to talk to loved ones in difficult times. It has been a brutal, harsh start to this decade, but we all have to believe that brighter times will eventually come, and our industry is going to play a more important role than ever as economies and communities rebound. Your technology, your vision will hopefully help improve lives for our children and our children's children. This event, this lunch, is a celebration for all of us in this industry as we all look to create a better world. So let's hand out some awards. That's why we're here. Our first award, Satellite Technology of the Year. Oh, I said we call it STOTY. This award, now in its 4th year, recognizes companies and game-changing technologies in our industry. We had over 30 entrants this year, and the number continues to rise significantly year on year. This award has very quickly become one of the most prestigious awards in our industry. The winner of the Satellite Technology Award was chosen based on a combination of the public vote, so it's very much a people's award, as well as the VIA Satellite team. So we still have a little bit of a say. So let's see, who are the nominees for our Satellite Technology of the Year Award? Roll video.
After its launch in March 2021, ELSA-D, operated by Japanese space startup Astroscale, became the world's first active mission dedicated to demonstrating the core capabilities necessary for space debris docking and removal. In less than a year in space, the ELSA-D has already set operational benchmarks for future rendezvous and proximity missions and has successfully tested its ability to capture and release the client spacecraft. Capella Space Synthetic Aperture Radar Service, Capella Console, eliminates the need for a middle supplier. The console combines with Capella's API to allow customers to search the company's image library catalog or request new acquisitions via on-demand self-serve constellation tasking. The company already has contracts with the U.S. Air Force, National Reconnaissance Office, and the Space Development Agency. Located in the Guanacaste region of Costa Rica, Leo Lab's 4th radar site is its first system located in an equatorial region and the first of its systems in the Americas that is capable of tracking small objects down to 2 centimeters for both satellites and orbital debris. The opening of the Costa Rica radar station also completed Leo Lab's coverage of all Leo inclinations. This brings transparency to the space industry as the data the station produces shows that space debris is involved in 97% of all potential collisions in Leo. QuadSat developed unmanned aerial vehicle drones that provide a broad range of antenna testing and calibration services for satellite ground systems and technology companies. The drones can test antennas regardless of their location, allowing QuadSat to offer both operationally and cost-effective testing companies. This system improves the accuracy of the data and the cost-effectiveness of the testing campaign and saves satellite operators from transporting. Spider Oak Mission Systems Orbit Secure is a space cybersecurity software solution designed to provide encryption for assured command, control, and communication, or C3, applications in hybrid space and ground architectures. Its core capability is that it secures C3 and other data, even as it travels on untrusted infrastructure. The technology is a unique commercial off-the-shelf space capability that allows budget-conscious operators to offload certain security concerns, providing more time and resources for customers to focus on their key businesses. Spaceflight's Sherpa NG program comprises a family of in-space transportation vehicles designed to launch small satellites to custom orbital destinations and to minimize development timelines for satellite operators and manufacturers. The vehicles are being recognized for their unique modular plug-and-play subsystems. The flexibility provided by this modular design allows spaceflight to customize Sherpa vehicles so that they can easily interface with most rockets.
Before we hand out that award, I just want to say that it was so difficult even just to pick the nominees. We had so many worthy entrants, but we had a great list of nominees, so I think we should all give them a great round of applause before we announce our winner. But there can only be one winner, and the winner of our Satellite Technology of the Year Award is Astroscale.
Thank you. Unexpected. With that list of nominees, I first want to thank Via Satellite and recognize all the others who were nominated, just incredible technologies that were nominated here. I want to accept this award on behalf of Astroscale's global team. We have offices around the world, and this is a testament to all of the work that everyone is doing in the company globally. And the fact that this was voted on by the community means so much, that we all are recognizing the importance of the need for space sustainability. And what LCD is doing, has done, and is continuing to try to do in orbit is taking those next steps towards satellite servicing, which is going to open up the aperture for the space economy. We really believe that satellite servicing is going to be it. And I think everybody in this room recognizes it, and everybody in this community recognizes it, that that's what's going to be necessary to take the space ecosystem forward. And I'd like to say that all of us who are doing this, we're all taking these risks, these chances to develop these new technologies that are going to drive us forward. And it's never easy. There's always going to be bumps in the road. But without taking these chances, without taking these risks, we're never going to see the entire ecosystem move forward. So I think we're all working together to make this happen, and we're excited and proud to be a part of this community. So thank you all very much, and let's keep going. Thank you.
Okay, and so we have one award left, and I'm sure you all know what this one is. Our next award is Satellite Executive of the Year, SIOTI as we call it. It remains the most respected individual award in our industry. But our industry is so much more than one executive at the C-suite level. We are full of great people, great stories, and we wanted to bring these to life. That being said, what I love about this year's SIOTI nominees, it is the most diverse list we've ever had in my time as the editor of Via Satellite. Half the nominees are women, and for the first time we have a CEO of a research and consulting company. We are casting the net further and wider as we look at the people who are the difference makers and the tone setters in our industry. So, without further ado, here are the nominees for our Satellite Executive of the Year.
If one nominee reflects the changing nature of the award, it is Carissa Christensen, CEO of Bryce Tech, a company that has become one of the most influential analytics and consulting companies in the sector. Christensen and her team created the very first Satellite Industry Indicators report for Satellite Industry Association, reporting on industry revenue and activity. Bryce Tech was recently named number 10 on Washington Technology's Fast 50 list of the fastest growing companies in the Washington, D.C. area. Led by CEO John Serafini, Hawkeye 360 has gone from an early stage startup into a key player for commercial space-based radio frequency mapping. The company had a banner year, closing 2 funding rounds, raising over $200 million. It added 6 small satellites to its constellation. Hawkeye 360 saw impressive revenue growth and signed flagship contracts while building a business in a relatively new area under the leadership of Serafini. Neil Masterson, CEO of OneWeb, played a vital role in the company's resurgence following bankruptcy in 2020. He led one of the most significant deals in the industry in 2021 with AT&T, which saw one of the world's largest telcos put its faith in OneWeb's low Earth orbit connectivity. OneWeb signed distribution agreements and partnerships across the telecommunications sector and grew its constellation as it prepares for commercial service. It was an impressive debut year for Masterson, especially as a newcomer to the sector. While issues like space sustainability and orbital debris removal are rising to the forefront, Nobu Okada is the visionary CEO leading the change in pioneering solutions. Astroscale signed significant contracts in 2021, including with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and an in-orbit servicing robotics research contract with the Japanese government. Also, in 2021, the End-of-Life Services Demonstration, or ELSA-D mission, successfully completed its magnetic capture technical demonstration. Astroscale has become the poster child for companies working to combat space debris, thanks to Okada's vision. Tina Gattore, Chief Commercial Officer of Mynaric and President of subsidiary Mynaric USA, has had a critical role in deals that have built the optical communications company into a commercial juggernaut. After opening a U.S. subsidiary led by Gattore, Mynaric signed a number of deals in 2021, including bringing SpaceLink, Cloud Constellation, Capella Space, and Northrop Grumman on as customers for its laser communication terminals. Gattore's ability to grow the U.S. business and relationships with U.S. government customers earned her this nomination. At the heart of Swarm Technologies is CEO and co-founder Sarah Spangalo, who has become one of the most influential women in the industry. In 2021, Swarm's IoT network that connects sandwich-sized satellites to time held hardware went live, offering remote connectivity at the market, disrupting price of money per month per device. As many companies are targeting satellite IoT connectivity, Swarm is an established player and has around 150 satellites in orbit. Its goal is to make remote IoT connectivity affordable for customers that have not been able to afford satellite connectivity in the past. Now that Swarm has been acquired by SpaceX, it will be interesting to see what happens next with Spangalo at the forefront.
What a great set of nominees. I think that, as I said, a most diverse, interesting set of nominees we've ever had. I think they deserve a massive round of applause. So let's hear it for each and every single one of them. So the moment has arrived. So we will announce the winner. And the winner is Tina Gattore, Mynaric.
I should have listened to the PR team. Sorry, Mike. I don't have a paper, but I'm never short for words. Thank you so much, Mark, Lauren, Rachel, Jeffrey, everybody at Via Satellite for first the nomination, and now this. Thank you to many of you who've voted. I've had people come up to me for the last couple of weeks and sent me messages, and I voted for you, and I'm thinking 20 plus years in the SATCOM industry has paid off tonight in a big way. And you can't do this all by yourself, right? We have an amazing company. I have a fearless CEO, leader, Bulent Altan. I have an amazing founder and CTO, Joachim, who are really shaping my NARIC, and the fabulous team who are really making my job so much easier to help position this company and bringing optical communications to all of us now. I hope I haven't left anyone out, but thank you so much again to everybody. This is an incredible personal and professional honor for me. Thank you.
Wow, wasn't that fantastic? I think we should have another round of applause for both Astroscale and Tina. So let's hear it one more time. And just a little bit of a shameless plug. Make sure you check out our May edition of Via Satellite, because now you won the award, you've got to give us interviews, right? That's part of the deal. So we look forward to talking to Astroscale and Tina from NARIC. So we'll be following up with you and doing hopefully some great interviews. To me, you're all winners, though. I mean, you know, all the nominees, even the ones that weren't nominated, there are so many great stories. I always joke to our team, it gets harder every year, you know, to choose nominees, to choose winners, because there are so many great companies in this sector, there are so many great people in this sector, and it's our honor as Via Satellite to serve you and provide information to the community. My final comments, thank you again for being part of Satellite, being part of the show, being part of the awards lunch today. We really, really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. All the best. Thank you very much.